Hi, everybody.
Hello, I'm Ryan.
I'm Bethany.
And we are Ryan and Bethany Board Game Reviews.
And today we'll be talking about Set a Watch. But before we do, we just want to remind you to hit that subscribe button so you can see our videos as they come out. Now, Set a Watch is designed by Ted Walsh and Mike Nad, and it is published by Rock Manor Games.
I'm having a great time trying to get the lighting to show off this really awesome box.
Really cool. It's so cool.
All right, so Gen Con, a million years ago, I don't know, a very long time ago, we like to go to the prototyping room where we kind of just play games that are in development in various stages, right? People are just testing them. People are kind of, doing various stages of testing, right? And we go in there, like we do every year, and we play a game, and we're having a great time.
It was a long time ago.
Yes.
I think we only had one kid.
Yeah, so that's 1,000 years ago, a million years ago.
That's how old our children are.
Which makes us even older. But yeah, there's this one particular game, this cooperative game, that was just so much fun. And playing with the people who worked at the company, or with I don't think it was a designer, but someone else who worked at the company, was just so passionate about it and so had such great ideas and. We really loved our feedback too, and kind of was taking notes furiously. And I didn't catch the name of it at the time, but I was like, that was fun. I'd love to play that later on. All right, so we pick up, set our watch, and guess what?
It's that game!
It's that game. Right? This feels really familiar. That's the thing. That's the one. See, this is the deluxe edition specifically that we're going to be talking about. Basically, it adds in, it's the base game plus some additional rolls, some additional cards, that kind of thing. In this game, it's a full cooperative game. Basically, you have all these monsters and creatures that are coming at you. You have to have a team of 4 people. No matter how many players you actually are having, you have a team of 4 characters. One of them has to stay behind, guard the camp, and the other 3 are going to be actively fighting against all those monsters. Okay, let me give you a quick overview of how to play. All right, here's our board setup for Set a Watch. This is kind of our camp area, basically. So every turn, one player is going to stay behind. They're going to watch the camp while everybody else kind of fights the monsters. So the player boards are going to look like this. I'll do a little bit deeper dive on that later on. But first off, we want to mention what kind of dice you're going to use. You're going to use 3 d6s or 3 d8s. And then also down below here, this is our camp action. Each character has a special action they can only do at the camp, and only they can do it. All right, so everyone's going to take their dice at the beginning of the turn, and they're going to roll them. The board we just looked at had d6s, so we're going to roll those. Or look at our actions that we can do this turn. So these are the dice that we're going to use to activate all of our actions over here at the camp. And again, each player has their own special ability. You can use any dice number, it doesn't matter what it is, in order to activate this ability. The Bard's one says, this is multi-talented. Choose one of your ability cards and swap it with one ability card of an adventurer not in play. This gives you basically the ability to kind of do things that you normally wouldn't be able to do. It allows you to pull cards from other characters and do some wild actions, which is kind of cool. In the center here, we have our bonfire. We want to have as much fire as possible because that fire is going to provide light, and the more light you have, the more of the monsters coming at you that you're going to be able to see. Right now, we start with 2. What we can do is we can spend a dice of any value to chop more firewood, and it's going to give us 2 more firewood. If at any point during the game we're able to get all the way up here to the 3, we can change it out for the large firewood token, and then we can see up to 3 cards. And similarly, if we get all the way down to 1, we have to swap that out again. This time we can only see 1 monster coming at us, which is no good. Every character has a small deck of 5 cards, and you're going to be using 3 of them at a time. Basically, you can flip them over to show that they are inactive, and they're going to be face up when they are active. If you ever want to make more things active, you can use a 6, and only a 6 or higher, in order to heal one of them, and flip it back over to the active side. You're going to get 1 free heal every time you do a camp phase, but other than that, you're going to have to use that heal action in order to get some more cards back. I also mentioned that you have 5 cards, but only have 3 at a time. Well, if you ever want to access those other 2 cards, what you can do is you can spin a dice of any value to equip. Basically, you're going to swap out cards that you're not using onto your board. We're also going to have a location that we're fighting each time, so we're going to flip over the top card of that. The very first time we're going to ignore what the top left part of that card says, but basically, every time other than the first turn, we're going to automatically lose some of our fire. So you kind of have to keep on building it back up. On the top right, it's also going to tell us how many of those monsters are going to be coming at us that turn, as well as some special text that's going to be activated that turn. Could be good or bad. Let's be real, most of the time it's bad. We have 8 regular locations and then 1 final location in that deck. And then we also have a whole stack of unused locations, which are a combination of regular cards as well as some special kind of better, easier locations. If you ever want to use a 4 or higher dice, you can use the check map situation. What you're going to do is you're going to draw the top card from this deck, as well as the top card from your normal stack. And you're going to look at both of them and decide which one you like better. Alright, so in this particular one, we only have 5 monsters coming out, and this time we don't lose any of the fire. And the ability actually gives us an extra ability. So you know what? Let's put that on top, and then we're going to take this card and put it at the bottom of our pile. Also, while we're talking about the box, there is a little spot here called the Horde. The Horde is basically all the monsters that you could not defeat during the game. They're going to come back and haunt you during the very last final battle. So you want to kind of kill as many as you can every single round, because everything you don't kill comes back again, in addition to the normal things that would come out that final round. So it's going to be really, really tough if you don't keep tabs on things as the game's going on. The last action that you can do as the person who's staying back at camp is you can scout ahead. The scout ahead action allows you to basically go through the monster cards, kind of see what's coming up, so you have a good idea of how to defend against it. So here's an example of a player board. While the one player is at the camp, the other 3 characters are all fighting off this row of bad guys. So basically, based off of how bright the fire is, we're going to be able to reveal the front row of the cards. So let's say that our fire is currently at a 2. We're going to be able to reveal the top 2 cards of the lineup. Alright, so this first thing we're facing, this is a Fae. It says, if it ever gets to the first position, we automatically lose 1 fire. Well, that's unfortunate, so we're automatically going to go down 1 notch. But then also, what we're going to do is we're going to have our dice rolled, and those are going to be our actions once again that we can spend. We can use a dice of any value to activate our abilities, or if let's say we're out of dice or we don't want to use those dice for that particular thing, what we can do is we can also flip the cards over to activate them that way. You can only use the dice once per turn to activate an ability, but you can activate it twice if you do both things. Spend a dice for one action and then flip it over to do it a second time. You can also just use the dice as what's called direct damage. So for instance, this is a 5 defense. What we can do is we can spend maybe a 3 and a 3 in order to knock that out. So that would kill that thing. We would spin our dice, we would slide everything over, flip over the next card in the row. Alright, now we're up against this forest giant. This forest giant says, its health is increased by the next creature's base health. Reveal the next creature in the line if necessary. Well, that's pretty terrible, because the next thing in line is this fell beast. It's got a whole bunch of health, which makes the forest giant's health even stronger. Now, some characters have, down here in the bottom corner, a sword, which basically means you can only attack the first position. Other characters, such as the wizard, has his bow and arrow symbol, and that means they have range. They can attack either the first or the second position. You might want to attack the second position first, because there's things like the fell beast. This has that first position text that says, draw a creature and place it in front of the fell beast if it ever gets to that first position. So we have to fight an additional monster. So now, cooperatively, we as a team have to figure out how we can kill maybe that fell beast before we kill the forest giant, for 2 reasons. First of all, the fell beast is making the forest giant really, really strong, but then also we don't want that fell beast to get all the way to the front, because it's going to just bring out another monster. If we're able to knock out the entire row of cards and have at least one of our characters with still having some active abilities, we proceed to the next round. If, however, at any point all of our characters do not have any active cards, we immediately lose the game. If you do have one character who is completely out of abilities, they need to go to the camp. They automatically get 1 free refresh of an ability, and they can possibly use more actions to get some more, but that's the only way to kind of keep them alive. Every character does need to go to the camp twice throughout the course of the game. We have 8 rounds of the normal rounds, so 4 characters, twice per round. And then that 9th and final mission, all 4 characters are active, and they're going to be fighting off this huge whole bunch of monsters. And that is how you win the game. You basically need to go into that last round, be able to knock out all the monsters in the entire row, and have at least 1 hero with 1 or more active abilities, and that is how you win the game.
One of the things that I thought was excellent about this game is that I liked all the characters. You know, there's games like this and you have certain characters and some of them seem more powerful than others, or some of them you just understand their ability more. But I didn't get that. So we played this quite a few times because we wanted to play with all the characters and we just wanted to get a full feel for that. And remember, every single time I wasn't disappointed with who I had, even though I was playing with different people every single time. Like, you would get them and you wouldn't think anything of it, put their abilities out, and you're like, whoa, that person can do this thing. Did you see what this person can do? And I felt that way with every single character I played. So they all had something unique and fun, and yet they were all different from each other at the same time too. So I just liked that all the characters were super fun to play.
The scalability of this game was actually pretty great. There's 2 ways scalability works. The first one is by player count, right? The fact that you always have 4 playable characters, even though you might have 1, 2, 3, or 4 actual players, made it so that no matter how many players you had, it felt the same. It worked the exact same mechanically. 3 players is really fun, because then you actually have each, 1 player playing each one of the 3 playable characters that are actually fighting the monsters, and the person playing at home, you all kind of collectively control. Or if you have 4 players, each person plays 1 person. Or if you're playing 2 players, which is a lot of our plays were, you'd have 2 players assigned to each. And, of course, thus, in a solo mode, you can deduce that you are one person controlling all 4 characters. And it worked always, no matter what. The other version of the scalability is the difficulty. Based off of those summon cards, you can either make it 1, 2, 3, 4 levels of difficulty. The highest being insane.
Yeah,
and
we did that.
so yeah, we did the easiest version where it was pretty easy. You know, we had a couple challenges, but we were able to overcome those, and we were able to win the game pretty handily. Then we put it on insane mode, and it was too challenging. There's just too many monsters that we couldn't keep coming. And we love, when there's a cooperative game that's really, really tough. We want to have a low percentage of wins.
Yes.
And so you can definitely scale that up to that matching difficulty of where you like it. And so I think it was just a perfect mix of how difficult things are. Even the easy mode, there's lots of wrinkles that are going to happen. It's going to mess you up. But at the same time, the hard mode, super hard. And we liked it all.
We should do a top 10 of like random things that a game does that will automatically endear us towards it.
Okay.
Because this game does one of those things for me. It's like something I really enjoy, and I always like it when a game does it, and I love it when a game uses the box as part of the game.
Okay.
I don't know why, like in Hammer Time, that kids game, like they use the box. I just really like that.
We should just make a top 10 list of games that use the box.
Yes, we should. We should. And I just really, really enjoy that. So this game does the same thing. So you open up the box, and then the board is right there. The board is part of the box. So the person who is staying at camp, they're interacting with that board when they're rolling their dice. And then also inside of the box, you have the locations that you're not using, but you can have a chance to cycle through them throughout the game. And you also have, the big horde at the end that you're putting these monsters into. So you're using all of it. And I love it when a game does that. I think it's so cool and it's so neat. And then you know exactly how much space that is going to take up. It's taking up the box space.
Yeah, and you're not wasting any components either, right?
Yeah,
you don't have
exactly.
any dead space. The box itself isn't just it's actually part is the centerpiece.
Yes.
Which is nice.
Yeah.
All right, so we talked a little bit about the deluxe edition. If you like a little bit more variety, I definitely suggest the deluxe edition. There's more creatures, there's more monsters, there's more playable characters, there's more locations. Everything about it is just kind of kicked up a notch, and you get this fancy cover slip over thing. So yeah, I think that I love the variety. There's plenty of variety in the base game by itself, but if you want to kick it up a notch, I'd say that the deluxe edition is the way to go to give it a little extra more life to it. And plus, the monsters in this game already are just lots and lots of variety. Each monster kind of works thematically. There's a vampire that takes stuff from you, sucks your blood, right? Sucks your life away. There's all these monsters that kind of grow based off what's behind them or ahead of them. So every monster, depending on when it comes out and in what order it comes out and whether or not it makes it to the front of the line or whether or not it makes it to what's in front of it and behind it, they all react differently. And so you have this game where you might see the same exact monster 2 or 3 different times as the course of the game, but every time its health might be a little different based off of what's around it. And I think that was just a cool way of kind of connecting all that, but at the same time making each card feel different. So lots and lots of variability.
I just liked the whole package of this game because it played in the box. So, of course, I like the package.
Okay, yeah, we know.
But I liked the dice, how, you could roll low, but it's fine because you can use that to use a card ability. Or if you get, a double ones, that's great when you're at camp. So I like the dice and how you can use it. I like the box and how you can use it. I liked all the characters in it, regardless of who I got. I thought it was really fun, and that you can go from super easy, like Ryan said, to super hard. I just liked the whole package of this game.
I love tower defense style games, and especially when they're cooperative. And this, although it didn't have a tower that you were defending or anything like that, it still had that kind of that tower defense style theming, right? Where this parade of monsters are coming at you one at a time, and you have to defeat them and try to make decide out which is the best order to defeat them if you have enough range to get there or whatever the case is. So I really like that kind of the cooperatively mathing out how best to tackle this parade of monsters coming at you. So I love that tower defense style game. Like I said, plenty of replayability, cool theming, and just an overall great time. We played it a million years ago, loved it even more now.
Everybody, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed what you see, considering buying us a cup of coffee through Ko-Fi. The link is down below. Until then, you can find us in all of these places.
You guys, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.